What up, fellas? Your boy Freelancer here. So, yeah, another pretty much terrible year for hip hop. So I'm just doing this just to like tell you which I thought was the best album I've heard from this year and the best music I've heard from this year. And hip hop wise, it's been pretty low. Like, no, literally between I've got 8 artists on this list, and 4 through 7 are all interchangeable. You know what I mean? So well, let's get this thing started then. There's only really been one song that's been truly impressed me, and a couple artists have put out several songs I thought were all right. So okay, let's get this started. So honorable mention or eighth place would probably be Lazza Jefe. It's That's how it's pronounced. It's spelled Lazza Jefe, and it's produced by Away Mello. Decent beat, but again, it's a little bit overproduced in my opinion, but it's a decent record. I've heard it a couple of times, and it has that feel. You know what I mean? It has a bit more quality to it than most drill beats and that. And Lazza, he sounds alright in it, but obviously, yeah, I don't really think of Lazza when I think, oh, this guy's the next Pop Smoke, right? He's just alright. You know what I mean? But that's probably the best drill song I've heard all year. Number 7, again, 7 through 4, all interchangeable. It's Future, Holy Ghost, and Puffin and Zooties. I'll say Holy Ghost is one of the better beats I've heard from this year. I really love the vibe of the beat. I love the way that I just love the way the strings come in and the way it it's very dramatic. I wish Future rapped a bit more on beat with it, and I wish there was better rapping performance from him, in my opinion. But it was still a good beat. And Puffin and Zooties was a fairly solid song. Again, you're not gonna, it's not a song that a guy like me would be like, oh, it's amazing, but it's a decent, trap song from Future. And then the next one we got is Pusha T, Open Air, and Call My Bluff. Those two songs, they're pretty good. They're pretty good. Again, not nothing incredible, but decent songs. Decent beats with Pusha T doing this thing on them, sounding pretty good in them. Wasn't huge in the rest of the album, but those two songs were decent. So, in my opinion, step up from Daytona, but not about slightly worse than his first two solo albums, and definitely not touching the Clip stuff, especially the first two Clips albums. Method Man, Last 2 Minutes is at number 5. Again, it's a good record. It's not amazing, but it's a good record. There's some quality to it. And Method Man had a really nice flow on it, and the beat was decent. So I'll give him credit. That was a good record. There was a couple of records like Black Ops was okay, but it's not. It's okay. It's not amazing, but it's not too bad. Then you got Lil Supa under the pseudonym Marc Grinole. Apologize if I'm butchering that right. With from the album Yayo, and that had two cuts in it called Gris and another one called Plata, and those two songs are brilliant. Lil Supa from the Funky Fresco duo, and those two songs are they're pretty good quality. Being back, they kind of do what Griselda tried to do, but better, right? But with way better quality, better beats, kind of got a nice thing to it. Got good chorus, good songwriting. Just thinking about the chorus on Plata, gotta make it rain, gotta make it rain. You know what I mean? Like it's got like a feel to it. You know what I mean? And great vocals and stuff like that. It feels more New York than a lot of these, other guys that are coming out. Who and gritty than a lot of these. And this dude's from Venezuela, right? So it's good, man. It's a good project. Those two songs are dope, and so gotta give him credit for putting on one of the better hip hop projects from this year. Number 3, I gotta put this one here because Nigo Pop Smoke record called Remember wasn't big on the rest of the Nigo album, but this song I like because I feel like as a Pop Smoke fan, this is way better than anything off our last album, My Faith. And on top of that, this song to me, it kind of was a really good send off for Pop Smoke. And it is kind of funny how a dude who was murdered 2+ years ago is putting out one of the better songs of the year. It's just, and he's only been rapping for like a year and a half. So it's kind of crazy to just even think that, in my opinion. But yeah, but like this song was a quality record, and yeah, Pop Smoke sounded dope on this beat, and it's pretty good as well. So yeah, I like that record quite a bit. Number 2, I'm gonna go to Drake and 21 Savage. Her Loss, in my opinion, was probably the best album I've heard from this year. Again, none of these songs are brilliant. Like none of these songs are touching like Jumpman or No Advance or even some of the highlights of Savage Mode 2, in my opinion, like the track with Young Thug, Running. But to me, these songs are all pretty good. They're all pretty good. They're good records. So I gotta give credit to these songs. Major Distribution, More Ends, I think Privileged Rappers. Those 3 songs are the highlights for me. right? I really like those three records. Metro Boom did a great beat on More M's. I like the coldness, the nice sort of feel about it. And Major Distribution. First time I heard it, I was like, what? But when I realized, Drake was just joking, the whole being, with the comedic singing was quite funny in my opinion now in future listens. And when the beat comes in, it has like a nice little feel to it, in my opinion. And then also you got Privileged Rappers, which had a nice flip that actually sample. I know Jay-Z rapped on that sample in just a week ago, but to me, the sample, it was flipped and cut in a way that was kind of dope and kind of unique. You know what I mean? Especially when it goes, it reminded me of like, of a almost like a Pierre sort of thing, but it was a really good beat in my opinion. And on BS and Melody Ocean were okay. They were quality control to them, but not the best. The album itself wasn't great overall. There was some, questionable morals to it, especially the lame shit that a million other producers and interviewers and that have already mentioned before. Like the Megan Thee Stallion, stuff. It's just lame. It was kind of lame. I agree with that, and I don't think the Daft Punk sample worked. But overall, that album, unfortunately, is the best album of the year. From what I've heard from this year, and number one, this is the best single I've heard in this year. By far, the best song for me, at least, especially beat wise. Mattress by Nate Day. This beat is nuts. This beat is brilliant. This is what I want to look for with my hip hop. The beat knocks. I wish the rapping was a little bit better because I felt like Nate Day rapped better on Soul, but this beat was something else, man. This beat, man, love this beat, love this beat, man. And yeah, and Sober Dober also came out this year, I think January this year, and that was a pretty good record as well. But it's not major distribution. That beat, I love that beat, man. And the rapping, it was serviceable, but I wish it was a bit better, right? You know what I mean? Because then it could have been by far like, you know what I mean? But yeah, major no, major distribution. Mattress was a great record. I mean, I listened to other albums as well. I wasn't feeling that Jid album. I wasn't feeling that Kendrick Lamar album. Like, I go for production and I go for like great rapping vocals and things like that. And none of those albums had that for me. You know what I mean? So yeah, so this year in a nutshell was pretty bad. Oh yeah, and then and Nas King Disease 3 again, like none of the songs were as good as like 27 Summers, right? Or Rare, or Stowaway Run. That was all right. You know what I mean? Uh, it just wasn't clicking with it. I feel like that Nas in particular needs to work with a producer that's not just beat rate J Cole, right? I know a lot of people say it's the top five Nas album, but I guarantee no one will go back to it in 2 years. Or maybe some people will, and if they like it, that's cool. But for me, it's like it just doesn't have the impact that a lot of Nas stuff has, and I do disagree with it being a top five Nas album, but that's besides the point. I'm not a big fan of this year of hip hop because even if you love those albums, like you know, we're not in a golden age. I don't see how we're in a golden age personally, but hopefully Nate Day will come out with another project that might be good. Maybe Abracadabra might pull something out that'll be good. Maybe ASAP Rocky will finally drop this project that might be good because I did like Babushka Boy a lot. I liked even that song he did last year, Sandman with Climbs Casino. That was quality. That was decent. I wasn't big on shitting me. I just felt like a better testing record, and I wasn't big on testing. But yeah, but I've got hope for ASAP Rocky. I've got hope for like Climbs Casino. Oh yeah, he dropped a project this year, and that wasn't big on it. It was some like weird. I don't want to know how it was going for like shoegazy sort of thing, which is fine, but it's not for me. Oh yeah, that Lupe Fiasco album wasn't it? He's bragging about making an album in GarageBand, and it sounds like he made it on GarageBand. So yeah, okay. The Gunna album was, what I mean, the PS stuff. It's not even as good as like Retroville or whatever. You know what I mean? So yeah, this year was pretty terrible hip hop wise. Yeah, let's hope next year's better. Shout out to Nate Day for Mattress. Drake and 21 Savage had some decent stuff. Oh yeah, Jimmy Cooks, that's another good record as well. So yeah, so if we're talking about just sheer quantity of songs, then Drake and 21 Savage are number one, but none of those songs were good as Mattress in my opinion. So that's for me. Take care. See you next year.